What's up, NIO family? It's Ray-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to give you guys a quick preview of what's going on with Tesla, not to mention NIO stock. I want to break down the very important event for Tesla that's going to affect a lot of EVs out there like NIO and what this means for the future moving forward. But just note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Webull link. If you deposit any amount of money, you're guaranteed 12 free stocks. If you deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 in total. Deposit $25,000 or more and you're guaranteed 75. The offer ends very soon in just about 3 weeks. Anyways, now let's talk about the market. So as far as NIO goes, just want to mention that we're very choppy right now. Even though CPI came out and it was so, the market saw a little bit of a pop, a little bit of a drop. Then it popped back up, only to close a little bit in the red, but not that bad. So it's still pretty flat for the most part. So the question is, what's going to happen from here? I just want to say that right now, NIO is consolidating with other tickers out there like Tesla. And we're going to be making a very big move, I think, and we may even react to what happens with Tesla. That's why I think it's very important to talk about Tesla's big events. So what's happening today? As a reminder, we had CPI. Everything was a little bit above expected to some small extent. We saw an increase in core CPI month over month and year over year, but everything else was still decent. So all items are decent, even though it didn't really decrease as much as we were hoping for. And then all items without food and energy is core. This went up a little bit, not the best of news. That's why the market dipped a bit, only to get bought back up. Besides that, just know that for tomorrow, it's going to be Friday, October 11th, 2024. We have the PPI data report coming out, which could cause some high volatility. If PPI is a little bit hot, this could slow things down. If PPI is decent, the market may like it. So we'll give that some time. We don't really have much else coming out. We might see a lot of chop tomorrow, but there are other tickers that are going to make some very big moves. And one of them is going to be Tesla. So Tesla has a very important Robotaxi event today. So what should we be expecting? As a reminder, it's going to be taking place basically in California. So it's going to be taking place actually in the evening, pretty late for people in the East Coast. So I want to make that very clear. It's going to be in Hollywood. And what's happening is it's going to take place today at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which is 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So very late. And then there's going to be a live stream on X about it. So it's going to be very important. But more pieces of news, there's not really a whole lot else that's going up. There's been some talk about Optimus potentially being there. So Optimus may be over there as well, give us some updates. But what's going to be very important? And the answer is Tesla has to present its Robotaxi to give us more insights about it. And there could be a new model coming out, the Model 2, the $25,000 EV that could disrupt the EV market. If Tesla announces that, we're going to be looking for a bounce tomorrow. If Tesla does not announce that, we could be looking for a dip. So be very mindful of that. So I think the biggest factor is going to be their $25,000 EV. If Tesla announces that and Tesla starts running, we could see a lot of EVs follow the trend. If not, if Tesla does not get much of a run, it might not affect the EV market as much. So Robotaxi is going to be presented as long as the presentation goes well and we get a new EV. The Cybercab could be presented alongside the Model 2. That's going to be huge for them. If the Model 2 comes out the $25,000 EV, I think Tesla will bounce. If that does not happen, Tesla could dip. It could be dumping by 20 points, and that could be a little negative for stocks like NIO. So what do I see for NIO? As I mentioned earlier, I'm not really expecting much. There hasn't really been a whole lot that's going on, at least thus far. I was looking at this right here. There's basically been a lot of talk about how they're going to be participating in, basically being displayed at the Formula One circuits. So very cool stuff right over here. The ET5 is going to be their EL6 and many others, giving them a lot more exposure in Europe. So pretty cool stuff. Volume is currently at about 47.6 million, which is a little bit below average, and then short volume has been going down. JP Morgan gives NIO an overweight rating, and we tend to see more volatility on Fridays. Fridays tend to be green about 53% of the time, and we tend to see green about around 2 p.m. and also around the second to last hour of the day. So we'll see how that goes. My view of NIO is this. If Tesla does very well in their Robotaxi event, if that does affect NIO, we want to see NIO continue to hold up the trend and hold up above 6.4. That could be more bullish. If not, if we get a dump from here, NIO is going to be dipping below 6. If that fails us, we're looking for a dip back down to fill the lower gap. We're going to be dipping back down to these lows right here, and this could take us all the way down to 5.8. So lose 6, we go down to 5.8. Break 6.3, we go up to 6.7. My gut tells me this is going to consolidate, but it might try to push with the markets. So there could be an attempt to get back up to about 6.5, and we'll see what it does from there. For Tesla, so what Tesla's going to do is, if there's no new $25,000 EV and they just present the Robotaxi and doesn't go as well, this thing could be dumping to 220 a share. Okay, there's going to be a big dump into the 220s. If they do present a $25,000 EV, the new Model 2, they give us a lot more insights about it and they talk about how it's going to be coming out. And if there's a lot of hype associated with that, there's a possibility Tesla bounces. If we get back above 247, I think we're going to be pushing into the 250s. So we will run at least 10 points or higher than that if we get a very, very good amount of anticipation, good news going into tomorrow. So we'll see what they end up announcing. Could go either way. We're waiting for the very, very important Robotaxi event, which is starting in about 4 hours from now. So that's going to happen tonight. We'll see what that leads to. That's the big catalyst for Tesla. As far as SPY goes, I want to mention that this is holding up very nicely. It's not that far from all-time highs. It's still possible to try to make new all-time highs, if not test them. But I still believe that SPY is in a topping process. Despite the fact that the chart is bullish, it is possible to try to push a little bit higher, despite the fact that there, there is a rising wedge that's developing right over here. So will the rising wedge pan out? We'll have to wait and see. There's always that possibility that it will. And then once we end up forming our top, this is going to be looking for a big, big shift in direction. But I don't think we're done with the top yet. It's going to attempt to go a little bit higher. So be very, very patient nonetheless. For ES, it's the same thing. We are once again on an uptrend. If we end up losing 5,800, we could be dipping. And as long as we hold these structures, I could be looking for 5850 as our target. It's possible we try to retest all-time highs again. We're actually green in the after hours. But we're going to be forming a top soon around 5850, or if not a little bit higher than that. And then that's because of this triple bearish divergence that continues to develop. So I think the rising wedge will eventually play out as we get closer to the election. So my view remains the same. For Nvda, we're trying to bounce after we got a nice price upgrade for their revenue targets by analysts. If we break past 135, we're looking for us to get closer to 140. We'll see if we reject off that or not, but overall we remain more bullish. So we could be looking for an attempt for 136 to 140. We'll see if we reject off that. Bitcoin looks more bearish. If we don't hold 58,000, we're looking for a dip back down to about 57,500. For NQ, we are kind of forming a double top leg structure. We'll see if we break 20,500. If that breaks, we could attempt to go up to about 20,700. And if we don't break that, we could be tipping back down. So watch for a test of 20,500 tomorrow. We'll see how we end up reacting to PPI. But we could attempt to touch that, and we'll see if we break or not. The QQQ is also at resistance. We have 494 as resistance. If that breaks, we're going all the way up to the gap fill for the 495 plus area or higher. If we reject off 494, we could be dipping back down to 489. Overall, the chart is looking pretty good. We have a nice looking triple bearish divergence that is starting to develop though. So if we do try to push a little higher, be careful. This could just be a pump and dump like move. So I still hold that same view. Even if we go a little bit higher, there's going to likely be a rug pull coming soon. Apple's also trying to hold up. Could push for 230, so we'll see what the reaction happens to be. But overall, it's holding up quite well. For the VIX, I want to mention that we still have this gap below. So I wonder, will the VIX dip a little bit, especially tomorrow since it's a Friday, if the market tries to go for new all-time highs, and then the VIX eventually breaks out? Will the VIX break out from here to start filling the upper gap to 36? I think the market's going to be looking for a nice pump for the gap fill, or as this fills the gap, but then the market's going to be looking for a rug pull as the VIX pumps, basically. So we're going to be looking for a big rug pull in the market soon, but we're not ready yet. The VIX is still consolidating, so we have to give this some time. That being said, I think SPY, the QQQ, and the others could push higher depending on how PPI goes. But whether or not that happens is very, very important for not only developing the next potential leg down, but we have to be very patient because the market could be setting itself up for that. Also for NIO is once again, looking decent. It's just consolidating. Let me just find my chart. Sorry about that, guys. I think it's right here. We're just consolidating, so we're not really doing a whole lot. So give this a little bit more time to develop, and we'll see how things end up going. If we break 6.33 to 6.4, we turn back up. My gut tells me we might be testing 6.5, but then we might be seeing a lot of consolidation as we're waiting for the big event. If Tesla runs really hard, there's a chance it could help NIO, so we'll see how that goes. Until then, I thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day, and peace out.